This is WKYT News at 4.
Welcome to WKYT News at 4. Andrea Walker and Amber Philpott reporting. A shocking terrorist attack in France has left 84 people dead, including 10 children. 52 others are critically injured.
An investigation is underway into what happened on a crowded street in a popular tourist destination. Isa Soros is in Nice with more details. It's our top story at 4.
France is once again the target of a deadly terror attack, this time in the southern coastal city of Nice.
France as a whole has to share this emotion, this solidarity with the victims, with the people close to them, their families.
French prosecutors are revealing new details about the horrific attack and the man responsible. Mohamed Laouf Bouhel drove an 18-ton truck 2 kilometers along the famous Promenade des Anglais, where hundreds of people gathered last night to celebrate Bastille Day.
The music was so loud that there was literally just screaming and running that we saw. So it was just mass confusion.
Bouhel engaged in a gun battle with 3 police officers. He was shot and killed, found in the passenger seat. In the truck, officials found a handgun, ammunition, and a number of replica weapons. They also found his ID card. With only petty crimes in his background, he was previously unknown to intelligence services.
Whether nationally or locally, he had never been the subject of any kind of file or indication of radicalization.
This is the third major terror attack on France over the past 18 months. The government announced it is extending a state of emergency by 3 months and will hold 3 days of mourning starting tomorrow. An all too familiar pattern in a country shaken by tragedy yet again. In Nice, France, I'm Isa Soros.
We are also learning that at least 2 people from Kentucky were in Nice at the time of the attack. State Representative Jim Duplessis of Elizabethtown says his parents are visiting the French Riviera for his father's 81st birthday. We talked to the state representative this morning. He says he has heard from his parents and they are okay. And late this morning, Lexmark confirmed to us that the American killed in Nice worked for their Cofax facility in Texas.
We will continue to track the latest out of France as more details come out on WKYT.com and the WKYT News app. You can download it for free in the App Store or Google Play. Republican presidential candidate Donald Trump now confirms Mike Pence is his choice for vice president. Just about an hour ago, Trump tweeted that the Indiana governor would be his running mate. Sources confirmed the selection yesterday. Trump had planned to officially make the announcement at a news conference today, but it was canceled after the attack in France. Trump says he and Pence will hold a news conference tomorrow morning.
Well, we have seen a lot of storms out there this week, but it looks like things are going to be improving as we head into our weekend.
Let's head now to Chief Meteorologist Chris Bailey for a look at the weather.
Yeah, getting into that weekend, still a little bumpy out there this evening, but Saturday, Sunday looking a whole lot better. Live Skycam, WKYT Weather Garden in the background here. The wind is beginning to whip up, and it feels like it's going to storm, doesn't it? And likely is going to storm. A lot of upper 80s, humidity not as bad today as what we were talking about over the past couple of days. Defender radar network. Look at the line of thunderstorms now going up north of the Ohio River, especially into southern Indiana, now creeping south of the river into far northern parts of the Bluegrass State, Boone, Kenton, Campbell counties, getting in on some booming thunderstorms, dropping in from northwest to southeast. So as we get deeper into the evening, this line of thunderstorms is going to try to kind of impact some of those Friday evening plans, depending on where you are across central and eastern Kentucky. That future radar is suggesting, though, as we get closer to sunset and beyond, we'll see a lot of the stormy skies beginning to go away. Through early tomorrow morning, temperatures that will be onto the muggy side with a threat for a shower or 2. Now, when I come back in a few minutes, we're going to focus more on that improving forecast as we go into our Saturday and our Sunday. But the storms don't get too far away. 7-day outlook comes your way in a little over 10 minutes.
Chris, thank you. New this afternoon, 2 men charged in the death of a University of Cincinnati professor have entered guilty pleas in the case. 39-year-old Kevin Howard pled guilty to manslaughter and tampering with physical evidence. 52-year-old Charles Black pled guilty to evidence tampering and facilitation of robbery. Both men admitted to their role in the 2014 death of Randall Russ. Investigators say Howard killed Russ and moved the body to a grave in Fleming County. Howard faces 20 years in prison. Black faces 15 years. We'll have more on the pleas on WKYT News at 4:30. Police are trying to figure out the circumstances behind a deadly crash that killed a Central Kentucky teenager.
It happened around 10 o'clock last night at the intersection of US 127 and Shelby Street in Junction City. Boyle County Sheriff's deputies say 3 people were trying to cross the street when 19-year-old John Knight was hit and later died. WKYT's Hillary Thornton has the latest on the investigation.
Investigators say around 10 o'clock last night, 19-year-old John Knight was crossing the roadway here behind me with 2 other people when he was hit by a car.
Sheriff's deputies say Knight was crossing US 127 near Shelby Street when a vehicle traveling south on US 127 hit him. Knight was taken to a local hospital where he later died. This collision happening at Junction City's only traffic light. It is an area deputies say does see a lot of foot traffic, with folks going to nearby restaurants and convenience stores. At this point, there have not been any charges filed. Investigators say witnesses at this scene did give them some conflicting statements about who had the right of way. Meanwhile, as the crash remains under investigation, the 19-year-old's friends are remembering him for his kind heart and work ethic. Friends say the Eastern Kentucky University student worked a couple different jobs, including here at Complete Fitness, where they say he was a quick friend to everyone who walked through the door.
He's a really good guy. He always came into the gym, and he always had a smile on his face, and he was always cutting up, you know. And it's hard to see somebody that was good as John go. He was a young kid, you know, a really good guy, and you just hate to see people like that leave.
One thing investigators who responded to the scene here last night did make note of is that the intersection here is very poorly lit, which they say could have been a factor. In Boyle County, Hillary Thornton, WKYT.
Family of the victim say they are asking for prayers for both their family and the driver of that vehicle.
We are working on a number of other stories for you on WKYT starting at 4:30.
Sam Digg joins us now from the newsroom with a look at some of the news in progress. Hello, Sam.
Good afternoon. It is a warning about a possible danger of social media. Police say that 3 suspects use social media to rob people. Mount Sterling police say they've arrested 3 people for a handful of robberies. Investigators tell us the suspects would use social media pretending like they were going to buy or sell items online to set up meetings with their victims. And they say they threatened the victims with violence if they contacted police.
Several of the victims reported that they took pictures using their smartphones of their IDs when they robbed them and informed them that if they notified police, they would follow up with them and threaten retaliation.
They say the 3 used Craigslist and yard sale groups on Facebook to make contact with their victims. We'll have the latest on the investigation on WKYT News at 6. Strong storms Thursday have owners of a Powell County drive-in movie theater doing a lot of cleanup. The Mountain View Drive-In has been open since 1957, but last night, for the first time, the building had storm damage. Owners say a part of the roof of the projection room and concession stand are ripped off.
About a third of the roof was just folded back on top of the rest of it. The front corner post over there is laying over here now. Just a real bad gust of wind.
They don't know yet if their projector has been damaged. The owners tell us they plan on being open tonight. They will show movies on their secondary screen. They also add that if you were planning on seeing the new release of the Ghostbusters movie there tonight, the rain damaged the film reel beyond repair, so they're working on getting that replaced. That's a look at some of the news in progress. Andrea and Amber, back to you.
Sam, thank you. A new addition to distilleries across the state, what they can begin selling today, coming up in Money Watch.
And a strong dollar is making South Africa a bargain destination for Americans. More on what the vacation hotspot has to offer.
Keep up with the latest news on WKYT.com. Join the conversation on Twitter and become a part of the WKYT Facebook family.
Welcome back. Today, Kentucky bourbon distilleries can start selling mixed drinks to tourists. That begins today's Money Watch.
The Department of Alcoholic Beverage Control says 10 of the state's 54 distilleries have already filed applications. The MB Roland Distillery in Pembroke and the Dueling Grounds Distillery of Franklin are scheduled to receive licenses today. Others are still in the application process. MasterCard is getting a makeover. The company unveiled a sleeker logo that includes its familiar red and yellow interlocking circles, but downplays its name. Executives hope the updated design will simplify the brand for consumers and merchants. The new look will debut on its MasterPass digital service at the end of the month.
Mercedes-Benz is ready to hit the links with some luxury on the golf course. Check out this new concept golf cart that could up your game to a whole new level. The interior is made of wood, brushed metal, and leather, and there's even a refrigerator under the seat. There's also a touchscreen display that shows not only driving information, but it also displays a map of the course with weather info. Only 2 of those golf carts have been made so far, but Mercedes says it's ready to ramp up production if there's interest. Sounds good for you.
I am all over that. I just hate to know what that even costs.
Yeah, me neither. Overseas turmoil has made the U.S. dollar stronger in Europe and other parts of the world, including South Africa.
That means it's an incredibly cheap time for Americans to travel there, but some in the U.S. perceive the country as unsafe. Wendy Gillette reports now from South Africa on what there is to do and see there.
South Africa offers a rich mix of traditions, beautiful scenery, and adventures. For an adrenaline rush, there's nothing like submerging a few feet from a great white shark.
It is definitely something on a bucket list that should be ticked off.
If you'd rather observe wildlife on land, safaris like Lion Sand offer close-up views of lions, leopards, and elephants.
We don't have any televisions in the rooms, any radios, so when you come here, you come to relax and just to take everything in nature has to offer.
There's also wine country about 45 minutes from Cape Town. They started making wine here in the 1600s, and it's now sold around the world.
Ride the only hop-on, hop-off wine tram of the Franschhoek Wine Valley, or drink in views like these at Delaire Graf Estate in Stellenbosch.
It's arguably the most spectacular wine country in the world.
It looks even better when you add up the costs. The dollar is worth 3 times what it was 5 years ago, bringing more Americans to hotels like the one and only Cape Town.
It makes it incredibly good value when you're here for all of the ancillary things that one would spend money on. So eating out in restaurants, shopping.
The Four Seasons recently opened its first South African hotel in Johannesburg. Room prices can dip as low as just under $250.
We are seeing great interest in travel to the region in general, and obviously Joburg being the hub creates more and more opportunities for people to stop by.
It's common in South Africa to see deep poverty and high security. But those in tourism say if you're aware and avoid unsafe areas, your trip should be a dream vacation. Wendy Gillette for CBS News, Stellenbosch, South Africa.
The journey to South Africa isn't an easy one, and it takes at least 15 hours, but there are now direct flights to Johannesburg from New York, Washington, and Atlanta.
The best restaurants around strutting their stuff. I'm Deanne Stevens out and about at Malone's today preparing for Lexington Restaurant Week.
Now, your hour-by-hour forecast with Chief Meteorologist Chris Bailey.
Line of thunderstorms dropping in from north to south. That line of thunderstorms likely to interrupt some of those Friday evening plans, and those storms are getting a little stronger. Let's jump into it and show you on your Defender radar network all the lightning that is now beginning to show up in northern Kentucky, southern parts of Indiana, and again dropping in from northwest to southeast. That line means business here in the northern Kentucky. Storm very close to the Kentucky Speedway is very close to going severe right now. So if you're watching us up into Grant County, maybe Owen County, will keep a close eye on that as it works its way off to the east. Southern parts of Indiana back to the southwest of Louisville. Very intense thunderstorm that earlier had a warning with that. It has a ton of lightning. Got flash flood warnings that are out for the Evansville area just west of town there. So that's showing you that these storms, like their predecessors, packing a lot of lightning and a lot of heavy rain. And look how quickly those are zipping in. You can feel it if you've been outside lately. You've got the humidity, you've got the gusty winds, and the sky just kind of looks threatening, especially as we look off to the northwest. That's where we have a cold front, and those thunderstorms are lining up just ahead of that front. Temperatures out ahead of the boundary have spiked into the upper 80s. We're flirting with 90 for areas to our west. Look at southeastern Kentucky. Not bad at all. Low 80s down here. Are you kidding me? 82 Harlan, 83 Jackson. It's July, but the ground is very, very wet into southeastern Kentucky. Heading into the day tomorrow, the potential is there for a shower or a thunderstorm to ramp up. So that 3-day threat track tomorrow, storm or two will be out there, mainly across southern Kentucky. Not a whole lot of action Sunday. Good news there. We go into the day on Monday with steamy temperatures and the chance for a late day shower or a thunderstorm. Here's the new hour-by-hour forecast, and it is picking up well on that line of thunderstorms dropping in from north to south. What'll happen, though, you get to sunset or a little after, a lot of that thunderstorm action will begin to dissipate. Through tomorrow, southern, southeastern Kentucky, you have the best chance for some rain. Look at the rest of the area. Low and mid-80s northern Kentucky. Humidity levels that'll come down as well. Great evening out on the patio for our Saturday. Sunday morning, low to mid-60s to begin the day. Almost full sunshine for a while Sunday afternoon with temperatures that will be mid to upper 80s during that time. And here is the extended forecast with temperatures early next week that'll make a run at 90 on Monday. Keep an eye on Monday night, Tuesday, Wednesday. Threat for some strong thunderstorms back in the Bluegrass State yet again. Right now, let's check on traffic, see how things are moving on a Friday. Here's Officer Don.
Well, right now we're working a total of 5 collisions around the city, including problems with a crash at New Circle and Nicholasville Road. Also, police are still working a collision at Wilson Downing. That is a non-injury crash. It looks like drive time's being affected to Nicholasville. So far we're okay, about 15 minutes or so trying to get to Nicholasville, it looks like, and no major delays to Richmond, averaging about 25 minutes. Now back to you in the studio.
Thank you, Don. It's time for 44 of the very best locally owned restaurants to strut their culinary stuff. I'm ready.
Deanne Stevens is out and about today with a preview of Lexington Restaurant Week. Hi, Deanne.
Hey, good afternoon, guys. We are here at Malone's, part of the BHG group, kicking things off for Lexington Restaurant Week. Now, listen, the guys here, they've been involved with Lexington Restaurant Week ever since it started about 3-4 years ago. Connie Miller is with us. You guys have done this for 3 years, and this is your baby. What is Lexington Restaurant Week?
It's about locally owned, independent, innovative restaurants. And they really define our city and enhance our qualities of life here in Lexington.
Such a great opportunity for folks who have never been to some of these restaurants to get just a little taste of what all they offer. Talk a bit about that and how Lexington Restaurant Week works.
It's 44 restaurants, $26 multi-course meals. In some instances, it's 2 for $26 at couple dozen restaurants actually, and it's the 21st of this month through the 30th, and it's a good opportunity to get a real value and a big bang for the buck, and also give a little money to LexArts.
Yeah, let's talk about that, because you guys are giving back to the community in doing this.
We've joined 44 restaurants, and each $1 of every $26 special meal served will go to our United Arts Fund, LexArts, that supports most of our major arts organizations here in Lexington.
That's fantastic. Now there's a whole list of restaurants participating in this. I'm going to let you run down a few of them real quick.
Well, Claudaddy's is an example of the 2 for 1. County Club down there near West 6th is hot. La Deauville, of course, is fabulous. Dudley's Doodles in Oteca. Grey Goose in Midway and Lexington, and we have Holly Hill in Midway as well.
I mean, and the list goes on, because there's a ton that she didn't talk about on there. You can check out the list at LexingtonRestaurantWeek.com. Now, things kicking off next Thursday, so be prepared for that. And be prepared for this, because Chef Allen is in the house here at Malone's, and he has whipped up a fabulous meal for us that's part of Lexington Restaurant Week. We're going to talk to him when we return here at 4:50. I'm Deanne Stevens, out and about. Back to you guys.
Thank you, Deanne. Researchers are putting an expiration date on the Zika outbreak when they think the epidemic will end in better living. And while young people are still smoking, many are ditching cigarettes. That's coming up on WKYT.
Tonight's Mega Millions jackpot is $20 million, and tomorrow night's Powerball jackpot is $333 million.
Now it's time for Better Living, health, education, and consumer news that impacts your life. British researchers say the Zika epidemic plaguing Latin America will likely burn itself out over the next 3 years. Scientists at London's Imperial College say that while the spread of the mosquito-borne virus cannot be contained, cases will diminish. That's because once a person is infected with Zika, antibodies make them immune from catching it again. You might want to rethink barbecue if you want to protect your kidneys. Researchers in Singapore say eating red meat may increase your risk of kidney failure as much as 40%. To lower your risk, scientists say you should swap out red meat with poultry, fish, eggs, and other sources of protein. And the Centers for Disease Control say young people are finding new ways to light up. While cigarettes are still the most commonly used tobacco product, young people 18 to 24 reported the highest use of newer products, including electronic cigarettes. The report says about 1 in 6 Americans use tobacco every day or some days. Now let's head to Chris for another check of the weather.
Yeah, see me out there this afternoon, Andrea, and those thunderstorms that we're watching to our northwest are going to slide on in to central and eastern Kentucky. Quick check, you've heard Defender Radar Network. Look at the explosion of thunderstorms, a ton of lightning, ton of heavy rain. That action is just ahead of a cold front that is on the move from northwest to southeast, and that front is going to continue to press those thunderstorms toward the south and southeast. So if you're heading out for date night in Lexington or surrounding areas, and you got dinner on the patio maybe a little later on, yeah, the potential is there for a thunderstorm to interrupt those outdoor plans.
You got a date night planned?
Right here with all the viewers out there.
Oh, he loves you. He just loves you. The news is just now getting started. Here's Sam, Dick, and Amber Philpott with what we're working on at 4:30.